Hey folks, here's every piece of equipment I use to make videos, in case you fancy making videos yourself or are just generally curious. In the video description will be a list of everything mentioned. Well, the main stuff. I don't think I need to mention lights or tripod, but you know, the cameras, microphones, that sort of stuff. And for each video going forward, that will always be in the video description. No affiliate links, by the way, it's just the text. Nice and simple. Camera, Sony FD-R AX5 III. Pretty good. Regular retail price used to be €1,400. I got it secondhand off eBay for about €800, and nowadays you can get it for €400 or €500. It is a camcorder, which means I can record hours on end uninterrupted, which is perfect for what I do, documenting quite extensively. If you're making videos yourself and you're just starting out, webcams, the Logitech, whatever their version of the updated C920 is a good one. Your mobile phone has probably got a better lens in it than most cameras did 5 years ago. You can use that. I'm going to stick with this for a little bit while longer. The only other upgrade I would consider doing is a Panasonic GH5. It's a DSLR camera, which would be a bit sharper. For now, pretty happy with this. The tripod it stands on is a bog standard €20 plastic tripod. I wouldn't trust this tripod outdoors in the wilderness, but because I always record indoors, works great for the last 8 or 9 years. Lighting. This is a newer LED light, and that's a newer, smaller LED light. This one I like, big panel. This one, smaller panel, it's okay. The reason why I have the smaller panel there, because I move around because I can't stay in Ireland, too expensive. So I need LED lights to come with me. Microphone. This is a giant Squid lavalier microphone. I've had it about 8 years. I think I bought it for €70. What matters more than the microphone you're using is the acoustics of the room. As for audio recorder, it's a Zoom H1. I had a Zoom H4, but it was quite bulky and the batteries died within about an hour and a half. So this thing, a couple of rechargeable batteries, last 6 hours, great. When you're recording audio, always do 320 kpbs or one of those, whatever, 320 and uncompressed, so you got much more to work with in post-production. Okay, moving on. Now comes the props. How to capture gameplay. I use the Elgato Game Capture HD. This is discontinued. You can no longer get it. Nowadays you have to get the Elgato HD 60, which does 60 frames per second, or the 4K 60, which does 4K at 60 frames per second. I thought of upgrading, but not necessary because I don't have a 4K TV. I don't plan on doing an entire shoot in 4K. I'll get on to why in a second. And the reason for holding on to the Game Capture HD is because it has a little input for the PS3. The Elgato new ones don't have that. This special little wire here goes into the back of the PS3. And that's why I'm holding on to it. Yes, I finished up with MGS4. But I might do a video about Beyond Good and Evil, like a little playthrough of that, and a playthrough of Spec Ops: The Line. So there's still a bit of life in the PS3. I won't do a full-scale production, but a little silly video here and there. As for storage, 3 pieces of storage. Number 1, Samsung SSD. This is kind of like the standard most used SSDs, at least they were a few years ago. As for long-term storage, so the SSD is what I use to work off of, what I use to edit, because it's normally a faster read speed. As for longer storage, I use a Seagate, is this a 4 terabyte or 2 terabyte? 2 terabytes. So any videos I finish, any episodes of Platinum Journey, once they're done, I back up here for long-term storage. There's videos in here from 10 years ago. And then as for secondary storage, because if you're going to do recordings and you're going to back up your footage, you cannot have it all in the same physical location. That's not how you back up footage. You move them to a different location or to the cloud. I have a Dropbox subscription, throw stuff up on there. So every time I finish a recording of this, put onto the SSD to work off of, but then also back up everything to Dropbox. So if some unfortunate instance happens where the entire house burns down, everything is there waiting for me. I also back up all the longer term stuff on Dropbox as well. All right, computer. Oh, also it's probably, I have a PS5, you might have a PS4 or an Xbox 360. There's a games console in there, but I don't need to go over that. Okay, he might edit off a desktop, which is probably better. But as for me, I edit off of a laptop. This is a Dell XPS 15. Oh, what's the specs? The Intel CPU is an i7 8750H. The graphics card on it is a GeForce 1050 Ti, and then the RAM, I think I doubled it to 32. I think it's 32. It came with 16. I took those out and upgraded them. I've had it for 4 years now. I don't know what to do with this in my hand. I don't like it in my hand. I'm going to put it down. I've had it for 4 years. I had to replace the battery after a while. And these days I just kind of run off the mains. Overall, pretty good. It has some shortfalls. It's very loud. It's very loud, even when idle. And then God help it when I'm actually editing videos. Woo! But it's worked out well for me. It's been around the world. It seems to be durable, which is nice. Not sure if I'll get another Dell laptop. I would like to kind of explore options and try and find something quieter. But it being so slim is quite a benefit. It doesn't do very well with editing certain types of videos that have an awful lot of layers, video layers, and it also doesn't do well with 4K. That's why, not sure about upgrading to 4K. 4K longer projects, 15, 16 hour project. However, it does do well handling 300 gigabytes of footage for a regular Platinum Journey episode. So that thing has been flawless. In fact, it kind of surprises me at times when it works so well. So in that case, I'm happy. About 4 years old, I think around the 7-year mark is when you kind of go, all right, I think I should probably upgrade. But for now, happy enough with it. Oh, the other reason the laptop, why I'm not too thrilled. It doesn't do well with screen capture. It doesn't do well with OBS. I've tried live streaming, it sucked. Couldn't do it. I tried chatting with folks over Discord or over Zoom and record that. Doesn't do well. Hang-ups. If I'm recording the screen, and especially when I'm trying to record my audio separately on a fancy mic, yeah, it doesn't do well. So there are limitations to that Dell XPS 15. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are recently new to working from home, and if you got yourself a nice fancy laptop, for the love of God, get yourself a laptop stand. Okay? You sit the laptop stand there, you push it back. Don't be hunched over your laptop all day like some decrepit gremlin from the underground, building an everlasting hump. Get one of these. This is a Next stand. They're all the same. Nice and sturdy. Okay? Make a world of difference. And also will make a world of difference is getting yourself an external keyboard and mouse. Do not edit videos using the trackpad on your laptop, and do not spend all day in front of the computer with the laptop on the desk. Raise it up, sit back, your posture will thank you, as will the lack of a lifetime of back pain. As for an external keyboard and mouse, anything goes. Like, they all are pretty good. Although funny enough, I got a Microsoft one that I quite liked, but then the keyboard stopped working, then I got a new one, and then the mouse stopped working. And it stopped working when I was in Thailand, of all places. So I went down to a local market and bought an actual Thai keyboard. About €7. This sucker has had tea spilt onto it, beer twice. Just pop off the keys and soak them in soap water or rubbing alcohol on them. They'd be grand. You know, sure, the F9, F10, F11 and F12 keys don't work anymore, because they're just too goddamn sticky. But I don't use those keys anyway, so it doesn't matter. As for headphones, you can, if you're a true audiophile, you'll definitely always swear by wired headphones. But I found that with so much stuff plugged in and a wired headphone, if I accidentally forget that I'm plugged in to the wired headphone and leave, and I just drag everything, and it's going to be a complete mess. So I went with a Bluetooth Sennheiser something or other. You see Sennheiser, they're normally pretty damn good. These are like 60 or 70 euros, maybe a bit more. Worth it, I've had them years. Also indestructible, basically. Finally, voiceover. Jesus fucking Christ. Finally, voiceover. Shure SMB 70, whatever it is. You've seen these around every podcaster uses them. It's pretty good. However, much like the audio here, what matters most is acoustics in the room itself. So whenever I record, even with this very fancy thing, I put a duvet over my head. I put a beach towel on the table I'm using. I crank down the stand to get the laptop down low, cover myself in the duvet cover, eliminate as much sound and reverberations as possible, and then record. Overall, this is great. This is about probably the last mic I'll ever buy. Now what you're going to need also is an old XLR cable to go into this thing, and then it will go into one of these, an audio mixer. This is the Go XLR Mini, and then this goes into your laptop or your computer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is every piece of video equipment, or every piece of equipment I use to record videos. It's a fucking lot. Now that I got all strewn about the room. If you're interested in making videos yourself, now you know what I use. You can definitely go cheaper. You don't need a camera, you can use your smartphone. You don't need a fancy mic like that. You can get a Blue Yeti. What matters more is the acoustics of the room you're recording in. If you don't want a lavalier microphone, you get them cheaper than this. I would recommend a lav mic in general, just so you have more freedom and movement. But yeah, you can use your voiceover mic, your Blue Yeti, and just bring it close to you. Whatever my setup is, you can do it cheaper. And if you're going to spend money, spend it on audio as opposed to video. That's my advice. As well as just starting. Just make something. It's going to be terrible. Eventually you'll be somewhat competent. Alright, thanks folks. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, by all means, let me know down below and I'll try and get back to you. Till next time, take care.